producer credits. We're about to talk through all that stuff right now. Everybody give a warm welcome to All the Sauce, y'all. Alright, so I actually had notes and stuff for the last one. For Sean and I, we've actually worked together, me as a rapper and him as a producer. So we've had sessions where we sat down together, worked together. We have a lot of mutual friends and in the music scene and business scene here in Vegas. This is going to be a more free-flowing conversation. Just so you all know, he's a producer. You got some other roles as well. Go ahead and tell him what your role is in the music industry.
So I'm a beat maker and producer, and I'm also a business manager for an artist here named Echo. And I work with Echo on production as well.
Nice.
As well as with my roommate Curtis Martin.
Has anybody ever heard of Echo in here? Yeah. Perfect, got a few hands. I think it's going to be fun to just talk to him as an artist myself and a producer himself, right? So he produces Echo. Echo got big enough to where he went on his first tour. He was supposed to be an opening act with, I think, Chris Webby and Dizzy Wright, and then that got canceled because of COVID. Ended up, he went on his own headlining tour because after the cancellation, he got bigger himself. So we're going to be speaking from an artist standpoint, me, the guy that's been in his studio, and a producer, and actually kind of talk through what we went through. If you guys have never worked with a producer before, like in person, and different aspects of him managing Echo and his success. All right, so first and foremost, when did you start producing, and what DAWs have you used?
So I started producing when I was 15, and I'm 27.
Okay.
So 15, 16, it's like 11 or 12 years. So, and then DAWs, I'm Ableton exclusive, basically. But I can use Pro Tools. When I started working with Curtis, I had to learn how to use Pro Tools because that's all he uses. So it's gives me some back and forth. Yes. No way I'm making beats in Pro Tools. Like he does, other people do. I can't do it. The workflow's too slow.
Okay. So Echo is your main artist that you work with.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about him. I would speak on his behalf, but I feel like you know him way better.
I've been working with Jeff for about 6 or 7 years. That's his real name, is Jeff. And originally, we were kind of just messing around, and we got introduced through another engineer at the time. And he would just come over to my apartment, and we would just make stuff. He had ideas he was getting offline. We would bring them into the software, and then add our own thing to them, manipulate, figure out what we wanted to do to make it more custom. And then just over time, we kind of just started to develop a really good creative relationship, really good sonic relationship. And we started to figure out, what works, what doesn't, what's marketable, what isn't, how we approach songs with his voice, and ultimately how we create an album that people will actually listen to.
I love that. So you guys are creating a sound together in the studio. Is he helping contribute to what sounds he wants or the beats per minute?
Yes. So he's typically giving a yes or no, or he might come in with an idea already. So sometimes, a lot of people are picking up BeatStars beats off the internet. So you just kind of, people will come in with like, okay, I kind of want this, or I want to use the bones of this, and then you get the stems and you start like turning it into something that's not just some shit everyone else has. And I think that's when he's coming in with ideas, that's typically what we're doing, or he's got an idea from another producer and we're collaborating on it, trying to figure out. But he'll say yes or no to different things you add. If he feels like it doesn't fit the sonic palette, he's a pretty hands-on artist. So as far as he's involved in every aspect all the way through, from the time you're initially producing to the time you're mixing and mastering.
Has anybody here bought a beat off BeatStars before or knows what that is? Raise your hand if you have. All right, those same people. Have you ever worked with a producer in the studio, you and the producer? Yes? All right, so it's very, very special. Yeah, you're getting three together and create a sound that can stay consistent. For Echo, when he releases some songs, are you a part of the strategy for release, or do you know how he's going to release his singles or his albums?
Yes, so I'm not involved as...
You're the manager.
Well, I'm the business manager.
Okay,
so as far as advertising, he is the CEO of that company. There is no, he is in full control at all times. I am here to help him make some music, and also here to make him, here to provide some insight when it comes to more of the finance-related transactions that occur on the back side and on the front side. When it comes to his advertising, he is very good at it. He set up the initial strategy. He was the one who was going after Facebook ads and Instagram ads. I mean, the startup of that project was, basically music videos became like an advertisement. And so he would make these videos with the intent that they all had marketing budgets behind them, and they would be, expensive long-term investments to reach people. So.
You think about by having the content creation plan to the marketing and the ad spend budget all already lined up, and then you guys do the release. Do you think that helped get a lot of numbers, and then also new fans and loyal fans at that?
I mean, I think the question becomes, right, is how do you get people to listen first?
Okay.
So you got to get something that's cool enough visually, right, to grab someone in, and then they have to stay. They have to want to stay, and once they start staying, you can create a snowball. And that's what you're looking for. You want to create a snowball where at some point you don't have to use your marketing dollars at the same rate you used them initially, but because it's expensive, it's really expensive to get the kind of reach you need. And so when you're looking at it long term, right? Like if you want to be spending far less in year 3 than you are in year 1, always.
Do you think that the marketing budget allowed you guys to get enough eyes and data to build a tour?
Yes.
Okay, so you got to invest some money to start.
But tours are all about draw, right? Okay. And that's something that I learned from working with him. You can have the best numbers on the planet, but if you can't draw, no one's going to pay you because it's about ticket sales. And so one thing that I know Jeff was doing is that he was, buying onto tours, traveling, going up to Reno. He had pockets of the country where he could go and he knew he could draw, and that made him appetizing to certain booking agents.
What do you think his niche is and his target audience?
That is I definitely think niche, I'm not really sure. What's kind of funny about the project itself is that musically it's a complete mess of all sorts of different things, right? Like if you listen to most of his projects, they bounce all over the place. Like they're not, some beats are really hard, some beats are really weird. Sometimes we're sampling like CC and R, or Creedence Clearwater Revival. Sometimes we're doing weird electronic stuff, and I think it's kind of just like, I think niche-wise, he's good at combining whatever's good right now with his own thing. And I think that's his niche as far as being an artist.
I noticed this, and correct me if I'm wrong. There's like 3 things that really stand out to me about him as an individual. And I've only met him one time. When I went to go session at their house, the studio, he was setting up his whole lighting for his tour. I got to say like hi to him for like 2 seconds, then him and I were sitting down in computer already. And that was pretty much my only interaction with him in person besides seeing him at the gym one time and saying hi. But so I see him online. I've been following him for like pretty much the start, right? From the moment he was making music and barely getting any eyes on it, the moment to go on a headlining tour. The things I see consistently is he does like freestyles about like Avengers and stuff. So it seems like he's like a very, in a good way, nerdy, likes comics and stuff.
Nerd rap is for sure a niche. That's
what you guys call it.
Yeah. That is definitely what the name for it is.
The second thing is, I see him talking about mental health often. Whether he's been through depression, talking about other people who've been through depression, other mental instabilities, he focuses on that and puts a limelight on it and lets everybody know they're okay. Do you think that's something that's part of his brand?
Yes, 100%. But I think that's also something that's a part of every good artist brand. Everyone that has like a real following, right? There was someone on stage last panel who said it, right? You tell your story through your own words, and ultimately it's how you communicate that story through music that either captivates people or doesn't.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you're not going to be real with people, like why would anyone connect? Like, why would anyone want to support you if you're not genuine?
Love that. One more thing I see is consistent is they post a lot of videos of skateboarding outside of just rapping. So you see this guy, he talks about his mental issues, which is a lot of his very popular songs are people commenting on YouTube, I feel the same way, right? He's giving that emotional connection to hundreds of thousands of people out there that he's never met. He's doing the whole cornering the comment market, the nerd rap. And by the way, for the mental stuff, he calls that heart pop. So hip hop from the heart. The nerd rap, which I didn't realize y'all are coining, or that's already coined. And then last but not least, like the skate scene. So this guy is like targeting these markets, but not because he's intentionally trying to do it. He's connecting with these three different crowds because that's just himself, and he showcases that so much online. I swear this guy's posting like 3 to 5 times a day, reels.
Mhm.
So does he make
Yes.
those on the spot, or does he just have like folders full?
No, I mean you make them as you go, right? The narrative on TikTok and Instagram changes every week, so you know fundamentally that's not a part of the business I necessarily have ever wanted to be a part of. To be honest, I'm a terrible marketer. You know, I make really good beats. He's very good. He's very, very good at understanding how to put himself in the middle of the conversation online, and it's kind of it's a powerful thing once it starts to move. But you know, he generates those. I mean, it's an office job, right? I mean, the goal, right, is to get a song out every 2 weeks, prepping for an album. If you're an independent artist, you need a stream. Like, radio's not going to pick you up if you're not signed. Like, things aren't going to happen the way that it happens for signed artists because there's just no distribution for it. You have to create your own pipeline. And I really think that, you know, releasing consistently for years, that's how you build that. You build an expectation in a product, and people expect you to come correct every 2 weeks with new stuff, and they share it, and that's how you grow.
So is that how often he's dropping every 2
Yes.
weeks?
Sometimes it varies.
You hear that?
Hey, you gotta keep that in the pipeline. I mean, that's like every independent artist that's making a lot of money or doing well right now, that's what they're doing. There are other people doing it. It's a blueprint.
So, crap, I had a question. Echo, his artist, just landed himself his first editorial playlist on Spotify. So they chose to put him on their playlist. He didn't shop himself or pitch himself to another playlist. How did you guys land that, or do you still have to pitch? What happened in that whole situation?
So it's really, we don't deal with any of that. Someone at Spotify put us on New Music Friday, which is pretty crazy. And it kind of just happened. Like, we don't have relationships there. Our distributors, right? Once you pass a certain point, certain things with DistroKid are just inappropriate, right? The customer service is terrible unless you're going right to the top people. So you have to pick different distributors, and when you pick higher level distributors, they pitch. So they pitched and someone grabbed it, and that's what happened.
Love that.
I mean, at least that, like, we don't really know, but we know.
Because I was like, yo, we all want to be on the editorial playlist too.
I mean, but that's a game, right? I mean, if you're Spotify, fundamentally, like, the calls you're going to be taking are artists that are helping fulfill their ecosystem. It's about the value that an artist brings their ecosystem.
Okay.
So if you're a label artist and you're guaranteeing a certain amount of streams and they can back that metrically, they're going to pick the label artist. They always will.
Gotcha. Thank you for that info. You said business manager for Echo,
Yes.
as well as a producer. What is the business manager role? What's the task that you handle?
Just kind of handling the money in, money out. You know, making sure people are getting paid, and ultimately, you know, coming together to figure out deal terms and just going from there. I don't handle anything on the live side. His booking agent does all that. I'm just kind of monitoring our financial health at any given point.
Nice. I'm glad that you mentioned the agent. It seems like you guys have an entire team, and I think this is important for people to know in here. We've kind of talked on this a few times today, not working by yourself and kind of building a tribe. What is your team? Like, what aspects is it? Engineer? Like, who's on your team, and what is the roles?
So the team, it's dark in here. It's lit. So originally it was just Jeff and I, and then eventually Curtis Martin came into the picture, who is another engineer and producer who is absolutely insane and fire. Then a booking agent came along when we had basically enough numbers to support draws and to support just what we were going to do. And that's really it. Like, and then Jeff's girlfriend Megan, who sometimes tours, and then there's a DJ. His name's Codebreak. His name's Cody. And super cool guy.
Does he have another manager since you're just dealing?
Nope.
He manages everything else.
There's no need. I mean, fundamentally, people want to put their hand in the pot for a gross revenue percentage, and you know what I mean, and not provide any value outside of, you know, just being there. And I think fundamentally, right, if you're going to pick management, you know, they got to bring their value. They have to bring more to the table than what you already have.
Sure.
Or you have to have something so big that the organizational impact of it becomes too much. If you're an independent artist on a budget, at least from my perspective, like, you're going to wear a lot of hats yourself anyway. Like, and if you don't have the money to finance, then you got to learn how to do it. We didn't. All of us, we learned how to wear multiple hats, and that's how we got here.
So you said producer, engineer, the artist,
Booking agent.
money manager,
Yep.
the tour manager.
Yep.
Damn.
And the tour manager's not there all the time, right? They're only there when Jeff goes.
No, that makes sense. As a producer, put us on some game for your favorite way to make a track and really build out some beats and get a feel or inspire inspiration.
Lately, so I started working with some loop makers, right? Once I started to have a little more access to that kind of thing, and my time started to get more limited, I started taking loops from outside of my network. Some of them are great, some of them are cool. They're always unique. They're not on Splice, which means no one else is using them, and you can get exclusive rights, which is important if you want to monetize and scale long term. It's important to own everything. So we started doing that. I work with Curtis, obviously. That's one of my favorite ways to work. Guy comes up with the most nutty melodies and progressions ever, and it's really easy to build and format beats around. Or you can just go to Splice. Splice has some cool stuff, but you got to manipulate a lot in Splice to make it sound different, so that you don't. Well, then you got to stack on top of it, right? Like, I'm a fan personally of using segments of loops and maybe using like 10 of them, and then building some kind of new blend of all 8. And then that's what I'll try to do. And then from there I'll start adding, contact sounds. I'll start adding arcade. I'll start adding whatever other synthetic instruments, any serum patches we have, and just go from there.
You play any instruments yourself?
Piano, and I sang for like 8 years.
Gotcha.
So.
On the songwriting, you guys, sounds like you guys are producing together. Even the engineers recommending some stuff or playing some loops.
Yes.
For the songwriting.
Well, Curtis also produces him too. Curtis also does the same thing I do, so it's a group thing.
Right?
Yes.
For songwriting, is anybody helping contribute to the songwriting with that metal?
Yes, but he ultimately is the be all end all.
Okay.
He knows what he wants. He'll take ideas if they're good and they fit what he's looking for, but fundamentally, if it doesn't fit, then he's not going to use it.
Nice.
So, which I think is not a negative thing. It's that's how you get your sound. That's how you get sonic branding.
So. Is it self-funded? Is there an
Yes.
investor?
All just over time.
Yeah.
Yep.
So saving some money and just basically putting it back.
I mean, you just keep going until you until you can't, and then you wait for it to come back and you put more in.
Yeah. So the money he was making from shows and stuff like that, streams, is it just going back into the music up until the tour?
It never leaves. It always goes back into more things.
Yeah.
That's it. This is an investment. Everything you do goes back in. That's the risk you take, right? Like.
Were you producing him from the get-go?
Yes. So
how long has it been there?
6 or 7 years.
7 years. That's not bad.
And then Curtis joined the team like 2 or 3 years ago.
Gotcha. What is something that that he had to go through to get himself to the next level that you think that people should know and hear to either be prepared for or try to do right now so they can get themselves leveled up?
I think one of the biggest things that happened while I've been with him is the understanding that this is a direct-to-consumer market, right? People think that they get a deal. There's basically a perception of the music business from the outside that isn't real on the inside. Like, your fans are your customers. Once you view everything through the lens of how do I acquire another customer and acquire a new fan, they're the ones who keep your ecosystem alive. They're the ones who pay for everything. It's not about what show you get on. It's not about who you open for. No one cares. It's better to spend $100 to get one unique person who will stick around for a long time than to get paid $100 to perform at a show where no one cares.
Bars. Damn. So is the agent taking care of all the shows now?
Yeah, we don't. None of us deal with that. It's all him.
Everyone would love an agent if they can just land some gigs.
You need to be able to draw.
Okay, so that's the question then. When they were vetting you, I noticed he was actually playing pretty good set, decent time at Life is Beautiful last year at one of the bigger stages. the agent landed in that spot, or you guys shot that yourself?
Well, the agent ultimately was the one who did it, but I believe Jeff is friends with one of the original organizers, and he had performed at Life is Beautiful years before as a smaller artist, but it was always, I think it was at Red Bull. We performed twice, actually. We performed once earlier in the day at like the Red Bull stage, and then once at the other stage that was closest to it, or El Cortez, yeah.
But then this was on one of the big stages, so it wasn't the side stage. The agent had something to do with that, and I know
Yes.
the agent probably helped with the tour. When you get an agent, what are they vetting? Like, what are they looking at before they accept you as an artist and start getting you on festivals?
I mean, this is like, if you're an agent, what do you, like, you have to think about it from their perspective, right? What do they care about? Can they make money off you?
Yeah. Okay.
Are you a profitable enterprise for them to buy into? Like, if you're not going to make them money, why would they take you on? This is a business. Like, that's a hard, black and white thing.